Modern smartphones. I've been living without a phone that can make calls or texts normally for about, let's say, 1 year, since March last year, aka March 2020. And because of this, I definitely haven't gotten used to it, but I've gotten used to finding my ways around certain things, like call and text verifications on services like Google or Microsoft, or literally any of the big companies nowadays use at least phone call or text activation or verification for signing in. Therefore, if they actually enforce that strictly, and if they don't allow you to use mail for this instead, I cannot get into my accounts. But that's, as long as you don't have any emergencies, that's the biggest issue you'll have. Issue is when you have health problems or anything like, why do I have these on? The problem becomes when you have an emergency or health issues, or you don't feel too good and you don't want to get out of bed. Your boss will be looking, or not looking, they'll be looking out for you, and when they don't get a call or a text from you, basically calling in a sick day, or whatever the hell it's called, you might get fired. And if you do it again, you'll definitely be fired. Depending on how many sick days you have, or vacation days you have at least. Since I'm looking for a job, I need a phone as soon as I can. And I'm probably gonna get a flip phone or some kind of track phone. Because even though I have all this fancy equipment to, get stuff done, I don't have a phone. I have this iPhone 5S that I've been using until I got a new phone, the iPhone 7, which was an 128 gigabyte model at the time. I think this was 2018, 2017, early 2018, something like that. I got an iPhone 7. Then the next year, quite early, I know, I just wanted to get in on this deal around Christmas time, before the iPhone 7's, lifetime kind of wore out, and they weren't accepting as much for trade-ins anymore. So what I did was, I went to the Apple store that was in Palm Desert, which is where I was around Christmas time 2019, and I rebought, my grandparents paid for the rest of it, bought me an iPhone XR, which was also a 128 gigabyte model, which costed $600 at the time, but the iPhone 7 trade-in brought it down to like $450. So I used that phone. I was really happy with it, recording at 4K 60 FPS. That's insane, and I had almost no problems with it. The only problem was when I wanted to install software that wasn't from the App Store. You really couldn't jailbreak that phone. You could jailbreak this phone, you could jailbreak the iPad that we've had, the iPad Air, but you couldn't really jailbreak the iPhone XR. The iPhone X did have a jailbreak, but the XR was out of that. So you couldn't jailbreak it, and you pretty much had no other options in terms of extra software, or software that wasn't specifically from the App Store, and some of the software cost way too much that I just didn't want to pay for. If you guys don't know, I actually got Photoshop and Premiere for free from a website called filescr.com. And it's basically a lot of cracked software, and those two pieces of software were on there, so I went and got it from there instead. Because I'm not paying $300 a year for Adobe apps when I really only need 2 of them. But what if you have an emergency? What are you gonna do if someone needs help, or if you need help, or if you're in danger, if your life is in danger? How are you gonna combat that? You can't. Without spending more money, that is. All I can really think of doing is going to like Facebook and tweeting the police department or whatever. Don't do this, you morons. I actually remember something like, it was like, oh my god, someone at the house is here, and then when they posted this from mobile, this may be why they posted it from mobile, because they had an iPhone 4th time, which hasn't been supported by Verizon for quite a while. This is even unsupported. This is only a 7 to 8 year old phone, 2013, and it's already unsupported. What was I gonna say? you can definitely get by with one of these. I mean, you can even record at 1080p with this thing. It's not gonna last, but especially with how much, flash there is in this, it's only 16 gigabytes, but it's good enough for most people. Most people, including me. If this phone supported Verizon and supported like AT&T or whatever, supported our family plan, I would actually get by on this. I would use this instead if I wanted to take long videos. Like, this only has 2 gigs free on it, and it says I have 2 gigabytes of photos and videos, but I have none on here. They're all transferred, and there's none on here at all. So I don't know what it's all about. And actually, I'll show you one of the problems with using old iPhones. One is even exploring the settings app will freeze. So as you can see, I have 2 gigs available out of 16. If you look at my storage, it's looking a little bit silly. This isn't because I have a lot of stuff on here. I basically only have the essentials: YouTube, iMovie for very occasional editing, iFiles, Minecraft, Google Maps, Text Now, which is an alternative to phone plans and stuff, but it's really a crap alternative, to be honest. But it works occasionally. Discord, Safari, Next+, which is another texting app, Skype, YouTube Studio. Most of these things don't take much storage at all, like maximum 200 megs. But Drive, for some reason, is taking up 1.55 gigabytes in documents and data. I don't know why. I don't download stuff on here. YouTube is using 2.63 gigabytes just of documents and data. I don't know where this came from, because I don't save stuff on here. And if I ever do, it's always transferred off after and then deleted. I upload stuff occasionally, but that should be cleared out, like once per month. But this has been like this, in this state, for like a few months. Oh, look at that. It actually is not telling me that I have a crap ton of photos anymore. I think it's still trying to search for it, because it's still not saying... Oh, yep, see? 4.96 gigabytes of system files right at the bottom. I don't know why that is. Stocks. Yeah, and if I offload the apps that I've not been using, it'll only save like 300 megabytes, which is not that much. Ow. So as you can see, you can kinda use it, but it's not ideal. But you can do it if you're in need. The problem is, when you want to make authentic calls or texts from this, you can send texts to people with Apple devices just fine. Like if the person is on their iPad or iPhone or iPod Touch and it's linked with their Apple ID, which not many are, you can get by with that. But that's only with like friends and family. If you want to call 911, you can't do anything about that. And this is just due to the fact that you cannot use those apps that I mentioned earlier, like Text Now and Next+. You cannot use those for emergency calling. It literally tells you not to do that. But other than that, I would be fine with using one of these. I have 2 of these, or one of those for footage and picture taken, and then just using this for texting and calling. If I had a flip phone, I would use that too, but me and my father were discussing it, and Verizon doesn't have any flip phones under $100. That's crazy. But other than that, there's not really many alternatives. You kind of just have to suck it up and buy into the smartphone ecosystem. And if you recall, some might, I traded in my iPhone XR with some company. Just kidding, I don't know what I was smoking when I said this, but I give it to a local family member that I could spend on a new Android phone, the Samsung Galaxy A51, which came with a 512 gig SD card for like $20. Like, that's crazy. Man, that's crazy. That's actually what I'm using in this camera right here. Foreshadowing, huh? Came with that, and it came with 128 gigabytes of internal storage, which is pretty good. I got to play Doom on it, got to import WADs on it, all this cool stuff. The issue came with durability, and that's where it lacks. Sadly, I was walking down the stairs. I was in a pretty agitated mood, as you get sometimes. I mean, who doesn't? Everyone has their moments. but I was walking down the stairs, going to let my dad know something, and when I got to the bottom, the phone slipped out of my hand like a foot off the ground and hit on the corner of the phone onto carpet. And it cracked and completely rendered the screen and just everything to do with it useless. And because of that, the phone. So basically I kept the SD card, but the A51 couldn't use it since I didn't have a USB-C adapter for like a monitor or something. I also didn't have another touch panel or another display to put on it, if I even knew how, so I would have had to sell it anyway. And so that's what we worked on doing. The problem is, we were right in the damn middle of moving. So it's been a year, plus or minus a few days, and it's not sold yet. In fact, I know exactly where it is. It's not even on eBay yet, not even listed. But that's just the difficulties and the technicalities that come up when you're moving and you don't get situated right away, and you know, you can't have everything when you want it. But to me, a phone that can make calls and texts is a necessity, and because I don't have one right now, even a flip phone, I get pretty worried because if I have an emergency, if I have to contact someone, I really can't unless it's a family member. And if the family member's phone is on do not disturb, because you know, I live at night, I'm nocturnal, you know, right now at 11 o'clock it would be on do not disturb right now. If I had an emergency right now, I could not do anything about it except what I could do on my own right now. But I'm gonna try to get a phone. I'm gonna have to sell something like, it's gonna be a little bit of a rocky ride, but I'll try my best. But anyways, guys, that was my journey or pretty much my half journey. I didn't detail many parts of it, but I may have another video about this at a later date. But yeah, I'm Jaden the Mew, and if you want to see another video like this, then leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great day, great year, and a great life, everyone. Thanks for watching. And if I do, it's automatically transferred off after, because of my, I don't know, depending on how many days you have left, at least. This is a test recording of this latest video. Let me move the mic closer. There we go. And this, so, start. Modern smartphones. You know, pretty much everyone has one nowadays. But I have been living without a smartphone that can make calls or texts, at least for the most part, for the better part of 1 year. My Android phone broke around March, and the month of March 2020, aka March last year, and I haven't had a phone since. Test done. Test recording. Test recording. Test recording. Test recording. Why you still here?